Hey everybody, what's going on? Hey Maureen, happy midnight hour. Just thought I'd come on for a little bit. Got kind of bored and decided to have a little fun with people, I guess. Hey Nanya, I been going through a lot of crap here, family stuff, and nothing major. Just dealing with family things, stuff with my mom and whatever. But can you hear me okay? Loud enough? Quiet enough? Hey Judy, Grammy Heather, Ratherby, how's it going? Hope Juan's doing good. Kyle, 52, GM Flower, Nancy. Glad to see you guys. It's been a while, a couple days or a week or however long it's been. Hold on a second. I got to fix something here real quick. Got it. Prairie Breeze and Stony Baloney. Hope you guys are all having a good new year. Pretty insane that it's 2026 already and it's already nuts out there. I don't know if anybody expected anything different than that, and I sure didn't. Figure continuation of the lunacy of last year, and here we go already. I don't have the subscriber thing on at this point. Figure I'll see who traipses in here. I guess we'll deal with that when it happens. Sunday, Shara, how you doing? I know it's kind of late. At least it is for me. Carly, what's going on? Linda. But yeah, I was going to go on last night, and then Scott went on, was doing some legal stuff, and I really appreciate what he's doing there and like participating in that. So that was a little bit late by the time you get done to go on. I was pretty dead tired. So always a good time doing that. Learn a lot, get a lot done. But shit show 2.0, absolutely. I, I don't know if there's any better way to say it, really. I mean, every time you turn around, there's something else crazy going on. And when you think the crazy's done, even more crazy happens. But who better than us to sit here and talk about it? I just figured it's late at night. Might as well come on and bore some people to death, do that kind of thing. Get people's attention. White Snake, what's happening? Taylor, good to see you, man. Welcome aboard. Wednesday is all. I'm still waiting on you to teach me all the tricks of the trade here, just so you know. I won't kick you out if you gotta come here and do the stuff. Oh man, I'm already yawning. This is not good. Anyhow, I was gonna go on earlier tonight and I fell asleep. I don't know how long I was sleeping, but long time. Lisa finally woke me up. She said, "You gonna go live?" I said, "I don't know." And then once I woke up a little bit, I said, "Yeah, I probably would have been live a couple hours ago if I hadn't been sleeping the whole time." But Hippo, glad to see you here. I appreciate it immensely. I yawn, we all yawn. Yeah, I'll buy that. That happens. I don't do it on purpose. I would never do it on purpose, but so basically, this is still a real new channel and everything, and I just I'll just go through and ask everybody to read that banner that's scrolling across there. I heard somebody say the other day they don't like part of what it says there, but I don't know. I kind of do. It's just one of those things that I don't. I don't have a lot of time for people that want to come in and just be a dick right off the bat. And I think that's the part that they didn't care for. But I think it's kind of critical these days. We get to deal with enough of it as it is. Don't need to deal with it here. But then again, I do like messing with these people a little bit when they come in and teach them how to understand that some of them are dumb, some of them are dumber, and then you get the dumbest. So since somebody's asking about that, that was just kind of an off the cuff thought process as far as that title goes. I think there's certainly people that can be assigned to it, and certainly more than what I could get into in a 17-hour stream here. But it just doesn't stop. Every time I turn around, somebody's being dumb. And then when they're done, somebody steps up and makes it even dumber. And then we're swimming amongst the dumbest. And it's an everyday thing. So last night, it was kind of funny because while Scott was on doing his stuff and we were going through different things with his lawfare stuff, I turned on. I saw that Boss Talk went on, so I just turned that on and was just kind of watching what was happening, not really listening to a lot of it, but some of it, just enough that I think they fit the dumb category. Boss Talk with Shaky on this panel is just pretty dumb. I don't have a lot of specific examples. I didn't take notes, because they all think that I get on here and I read from note cards or whatever. I'm not against taking notes so I can remember the stupidity sometimes, just to goof on them. But at one point, I don't even remember what they said. They said something stupid. So I just kind of responded to it in a real generic way on DOA's stream. And it took them about a quarter second to respond to it. And their big beef was that I was watching their live stream. And I mean, if you think about that for half a second, how much sense does that make? If you're doing a live stream, what's the objective? It's to have people come in and participate and talk and chat and laugh and whatever. But they were pissed off about it, that I was watching their stream and responding to it. And I thought, okay, well, that's a perfect opportunity. So I responded to, maybe one or two other things that they said, just in a really generic way. And they went off again. If they only knew how hard I was laughing at them, it would be amazing. I mean, short of going on a panel, which I don't know if I ever want to waste my time with that ever again, but it was comical. And then at one point, DOA was eating something, and I think it was some kind of soup, French onion soup or something that he got earlier and heated up or whatever. And they were ragging on him for eating on a live stream. That it was a it was a problem that he was eating. They took issue with it, and well, that's kind of stupid. Hey, Auntie, Linda. But yeah, they were bugged, um, because he was eating something, and okay, well, whatever. I mean, if you're upset that somebody's eating on a live stream and you express it, that's one thing. But it wasn't. I bet it wasn't 2 minutes later that Shaky pulls out a bag of snacks and starts eating, and then I see Boss Talk lean off camera, and he comes back with fucking chipmunk cheeks, chowing down on something. I mean, it wasn't 2 minutes after they were bitching about somebody eating on a live stream. That's pretty dumb. I mean, that's just dumb. Why why would you even do that? I mean, do they intentionally make themselves look dumb? Anybody here think it's on purpose? I don't know. I'm trying to figure this out a little bit because I realize neither one of them have any content by themselves. They can't just come on and talk about anything without going after other people. And we all know the main subject of that, but they got nothing. I mean, they really they go nowhere. I mean, I'm all for goofing on people. I've done that my entire life. I've had a good time with it. Some people just deserve to be goofed on, but it, I don't know. It's kind of weird. And then when we get done, we were on Scott's channel doing the legal stuff and everything. I just was watching their panel a little bit more, and I had turned it off, I think, or something, or changed it or whatever, and then went back to it when we were done. And here's Shaky up there, just absolutely gone, sound asleep, just sitting there with his head hanging down. It's almost like Boss Talk didn't even know that he was sleeping. So it's what it felt like. I thought, okay, this is great. I could run with that for a couple hours, just figuring out the dynamics of that situation. I mean, it's a pretty strong panel you got going on when one person just sound asleep and the other is saying nothing. But I that to me is pretty dumb. Stop watching all the weirdos and idiots. In 2026 has been so peaceful. You know, I I, I see where you come from, Manny. It can be um it can be peaceful, but I just feel like I don't know. Somebody's got to see it and share it and you know explore the dumbness and stupidity and all that. Exit mindset. Welcome. I watched maybe 5 minutes replays. The boss crack. It was running his mouth about troll central. Charlie caught himself before he started talking. Say Sticker's name. Yeah, I don't know. It's like they try to push the limits of everything, but every time they do, they just get dumber. Maybe they're trying to move up a little bit. Maybe they're trying to move up to the dumber category. I mean, it's not that hard to do, I guess, for some of these guys, but I don't know. It's weird. So once we get done at Scott's, I went over there. And I actually typed something into his chat, and I don't remember exactly what I said, but it was something like, "Y'all are tripping. You just, you guys just lying and making up stuff just to lie and make up stuff." Again, because I know they do it because they don't have anything else sensible or intelligent to talk about. But uh, I just I don't understand how they're comfortable with that all the time. It just keeps going and going and going and going and going. But yeah, he got pretty uptight over me typing something into his chat. And once again, um, I've told them I don't know how many times. I know you love it when I go in there because you guys hate so much, and it just drives you crazy that I go in there and your chat all of a sudden wakes up, and you guys wake up and start paying attention. You know, if Shaky wasn't sleeping, all I would have had to do is type DOA, and he would have been smiling. I mean, you all know that, right? You agree with me on that? Every time he mentions DOA, he gets a smile on his face, and he tries to act like he's what's that word? Roasting. Yeah, he tries to act like he's roasting all the time, but it's really, I think it's a hidden thing. I think it's beyond. I think it's beyond an obsession too. But he really, yeah. How many times in a day? Um, Nani, you're right. How many times a day does he beg Scott to go live? And I hear all the time about me. This whole idea that I stand up for another grown man and that I know what he's doing, and one grown man knowing this about another grown man and everything. But he doesn't realize that he goes like 23 and a half hours a day obsessing over uh, another grown man. I mean, and I guess the entertainment part for us is that we all see it. I mean, it's really glaring that the obsession has taken over so many people and so many hours in the day that that's all they do. But with Shaky, it's different because um, it's like somebody flips a switch on him. It's a weird thing to watch at times. It's hilarious at other times, especially when they try to act all tough and threatening and accusatory and everything else, but they got a big smile on their face. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just something that I'm picking up on that I probably shouldn't pick up on. But anyhow, that's uh that's the dumb part of the title. Is Boss Talk and Cracky on panel together, just doing their thing and begging people to come up and begging for attention. And because they're both, I mean, realistically, I think about it, and I think Boss Talk does the same thing. At least he finally got the message that he shouldn't put DOA in every single title of every single video he does. I have noticed that he's gotten away from that. So he was at least paying a little bit of attention to something going on in the world, because I think it really identified his position and his frame of mind too. But I got to tell you something I did just before I did the live, just just because I thought it would be funny to do. You know how they have the block words list on here? I think I have 3 or 4 words that are blocked, but um, I blocked the pineapple emoji tonight just before I came on live, because Shaky, for some reason, he thinks that's the worst thing in the world that he can do is come in and put a pineapple or 4 or 5 pineapples in chat, and it's a gotcha. So Shaky, I'm guessing you're listening. Maybe you're not. Doesn't matter. But if you are, Now you got to come up with something different, buddy. And it's a challenge. See if you're up for the challenge of clicking a different emoji. I know that's a struggle, and I know it might be kind of hard to come up with something new, but no more pineapples, buddy. Seriously, no more pineapples. And I said, oh my God, he blocked pineapples. I got him now. Look how bad I got him. I just kicked his ass with pineapple emojis. He was just going off on it, and he was going crazy.
Block all the fruit and vegetables.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Lisa says, block all the fruit and vegetables. Stat. I agree. Man, I should do that. So I don't know, Anthony or Taylor or White Snake or anybody with a wrench that can add to block words. Feel free to block any kind of fruit and veggie you want to. It's okay. Hi, Lisa. Hi. Lisa says hi. Lisa's doing okay. We're having a lot of weather changes up here, so Lisa's been kind of getting her ass kicked. That's when the weather changes, it really impacts her. Sometimes it's really good, sometimes it's really bad, but it always impacts her somehow. So anytime weather's changing, it's not a good thing. But she's doing okay. We're doing our thing with all life, being thrown at us here already in 2026. All 5 days of it so far. It feels like 5 months already. But anyhow, it should be fun. See what happens with that. And definitely want to get into the panel thing here real soon. I mean, I could bring people up if they want to come up tonight. Kind of late, but still, I think it's cool to have more than one voice out there commenting on stuff. So if you have contact with me, send me a note or something, and I'll bring you up. But for now, let's move on to dumber. Anybody want to guess what dumber is? That could be an interesting little study too. It's past roasting and now is just either vile or juvenile ranting, but always waiting on bated breath for your day to go out. Yeah, rather I agree, and I'm okay with that. And the way I look at all this is, and I've said this to quite a few people, but if they're focused on me, they're not focused on somebody else. And yeah, I do that intentionally, whether they want to recognize it or admit it or not. What? Oh, look at the guesses. Yeah, I'm watching it. I figure, and it's not just for DOA or otherwise, but certainly, he applies as well. If I can distract their stupidity and have them talk about me, or us, it doesn't matter. I mean, I've said before, they impact our personal lives 0%, other than me laughing at them. So, and it gives me the opportunity to goof on them too. But if they're talking about me, then they're not being stupid or vile or disgusting about somebody else. Even if it's for just that minute or two. Although I will say with Shaky, it can be, instead of a minute or two, he can go on for a couple hours. David B is a bitch. How many times have we heard that stupidity? And yeah, I laugh at it harder than anybody else does. So, yeah, I agree. Basement level stuff, no doubt. So yeah, you guys, I'm sure you had a good idea of where that was coming from, because we pay attention, and we pay attention for entertainment. We pay attention for protection. Just people's psyche, can be important sometimes, and these people want to ride on it all the time. But moving on to the dumber is absolutely Disaster Piece Theater and all of those on the panel who participate in that. Once again, I didn't take a lot of notes or anything, and I don't. There's so the stupidity is so deep that it's really hard to remember specifics sometimes if you don't clip it or just make a note of it. But yeah, I think they definitely step into the dumber category. Someone who blocked me but is obsessed with me appeared in a post. I'm an algorithm reposting Danny. Danny's a whole. Danny could get thrown into this category somewhere. He's probably somewhere in between Dumb and Dumber, I guess. Now you bring him up, I haven't really thought about it. That's one of the people I just don't think about very often because they're just almost invisible. But tries real hard not to be. I got to give him credit for that. But anyhow, it just anybody that can dedicate that much time of their lives to being that level of stupid and think that people are laughing at it and laughing with them, that's just dumber. That's dumber than dumb. Right? I mean, would you guys agree that there's not much of an argument there? That I know Taylor has talked about the next level musical productions and things like that, and the countless hours spent, and I guess we should give them some recognition for it. But this is my way of recognizing them. It's just fucking stupid. It just, to me, it doesn't fit in any other category. It really is just crazy how they come up with that level of dumb. I wish I had a bunch of examples. I mean, I watched one. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was live this morning. I didn't watch it live. I know that. Whatever it was, I think it was from this morning. It might have been from the end of last week or something. But they were. I mean, and it's it's a community effort that they think it clicks. They do this words of wisdom thing, right? And they try to make it sound like they're recognizing, DOA's lack of intelligence and what have you, and they're going to mock how he talks, which is always a good thing to do. Human beings making fun of other human beings, how they speak or how they walk or how they eat or otherwise. I mean, that takes a lot of effort to do that. But the one I listened to was, well, it was really short. And it was something about putting cocaine up his ass. And they, that was their subject to get their comedy, their parody show off the ground. And I think he said it was their first show of 2026. So they're really going to step it up and understand that. And this is another thing that I heard him say, which does click back to me. We haven't done a show for a while, so we got to kind of knock the rust off and get back in the saddle here. And however he said it, I don't know what he said, but it was something to that effect. Like, it's always hard to get back into the groove after you've been off and been on hiatus. Hiatus. Saying hiatus and Disaster Piece Theater in the same sentence is about as fucking dumb as you get. It just, MLH, damn fools. But anyhow, they went through this whole thing about him, putting cocaine up his ass. And he says, "Oh, this went on. I'm proving that that this isn't just stuff that we made up because see, I've got a clip from before DT ever started. I was like, okay, well, go ahead and play it. I know what clip you're talking about already. And he played it, and it was DOA saying, I don't know if he said I'm boofing cocaine up my ass or putting cocaine up my ass. And here's the funny part is he has no idea of the context of that. He has no idea where that came from. He's just going to use it to prove a point that he wants to make and just to prove how dumb he is. Because anybody that knows anything about the history of what he's talking about, they're going to know there's nothing to it. And they're going to know that it came from someone else and he was repeating it. He was mocking someone else, of course, which is 99% of the time the shit that they run with and act like he's, some, top shelf felon for the things that he says that he comes up with. They don't realize that 99% of that shit is him goofing on people that said that stuff about him. I mean, I could give you 1,000 examples of that, and it gets funnier every time because the more he says, the deeper they fall into it. Yeah. 52, I agree. He has explained it multiple times. Morons. And they don't get that. And all of us have explained this stuff multiple times. There's a whole bunch of this stuff that they think is his coming out of his brain, and it makes him twisted. But it's just him goofing on other people, and some of us goofing on other people, and they don't understand. Well, it's great. I'm just saying they don't understand. They don't understand the context of anything, and I'll run with it. Linda, that's exactly right. I mean, that hits the nail on the head. They really don't understand context. And they don't understand how to take something out of context and make it funny. Like goofing on somebody. See, they think goofing on somebody is DT, is disaster piece theater. That's not goofing on anybody. And the biggest joke of the whole thing, probably the funniest part of that whole presentation that they do, is the fact that the target of their stupidity, I'll bet it has never watched I'll bet even half of one of their streams. Yeah, 420. I agree. That's accurate. It was Red that went into the MLA chat and told them about the cat and about the movie. Exactly. And of course, it happened before they had their show going, so it's got to be DOA being a miserable criminal. But yeah, they don't get it. They don't understand that they're the ones being laughed at. So I figure any chance I get to introduce that thought process to them, I will. Because when you've got to work that hard to be stupid, I don't give a shit who you are. That's funny. I mean, that it's vile and disgusting and everything else, but in the end, it's funny. The material's not funny. Their cartoons aren't funny. Their songs are, I don't know what to say about their songs. They're not funny. But the fact that they just don't get it and they try so hard, especially, like Becky. Yes, Becky, I'm going to attack you now. Please put your bubble suit on so my words don't hurt you. I think Becky's the funniest one with that because she's got a comment on every single thing. Doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter whether it applies to her, whether she understands it, doesn't understand it. I really like when she responds to stuff that she doesn't understand because it just makes her look that much more dumb. But that's the only angle the comedy comes out of there. Being stupid comes natural then. Nancy, it really does. It sure feels like that to me. And I know I'm not alone with that. I know a lot of people see it that way. And the other thing is that they think it's effective in a lot of different angles. It's just not. Because what they need to understand is that it's not just them doing it, and it's not original at all. I mean, just about everything they do is shared amongst a group of people that do it every day, not just even 3 times a week, but they do it every day. Yeah, Nanya, Pinche is a look at me from the first time she showed up. You aren't kidding. That's the thing that got me actually from the very beginning. And what was her proclamation that set the stage for all of that? When she showed up in the middle of a protest, she might as well have tattooed this to her forehead at the time and walked around in the middle of a protest with this tattooed to her forehead. Somebody's got to be able to just put it up there. What did Becky say that announced her presence in that look at me way? I'm going to make you guys notice me. She showed up to give Eric Rader his first donation on Live. I don't remember that. I'm sure it's true. I mean, that makes sense too. But no, what her proclamation was, again, I think probably stand in the middle of the street. There you go, rather be. I am not a protester. Forget the harm reduction specialist shit, because that's just some of the really, I mean, that's just some of the dumbest talk I ever heard of. But I'm not a protester. Here I am showing up in a big group of protesters. I'm going to stand in the middle of the street. I'm going to stand in front of all your lives. Every chance I get, I'm going to say something dumb about protesting. But I'm going to proclaim right off the bat, I am not a protester. And if that doesn't say, look at me, I don't know what does. I really don't. And it hasn't stopped. How long ago was that? 2 years? 2 years, Becky. I mean, seriously. How long does this have to go on to prove yourself as your position? And it changes every day, just so you know. And she proceeded to take over chat every chance she got. Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that completely. Oh my God. I'm glad somebody brought up Eric Rader. I was watching Shaky a little bit today. I do that when I'm bored. And he was replaying Eric Rader's stream. And I got to tell you, I've been called arrogant and conceited and stuff like that at different times in my life. But this son of a bitch, holy cow. He is just. I wish I actually had that recording to play. I wish I had the transcript of what he said while I was listening to it. I mean, he has some real zingers, I got to tell you. He was talking about himself, which he always does. I've known for a long time that he pumps his own self up more than anybody else. But he said something like if he wanted to be a comedy stream, he could do that. He made a decision to change his platform and go a different direction. But if he wanted to be a comedy stream, he said, I could put a stream out there that you wouldn't even be able to eat while I was on, because you'd be spitting food all over the place. And he literally said something like that. And I was like, wait a minute. That's on the comedy side. That's one person. That's one name. I don't put attach comedy to at all. I mean, aside from the fact that he created a really good whale joke for a long time that got a lot of traction and had a lot of staying power, the old humpback whale stuff. I don't I don't know that I agree with you, Eric, that you're funny, because you're not. First of all, I mean, that's easy. But uh, he also says all the time that I am. How did he say it? He said something like, "Oh, remember everything I said? You know, and every bit of it came true. 100% of it came true. When I say it, you can pay attention. You can take it to the bank because everything I said came true." And I'm thinking, dude, do you know there's a world outside of your head that exists and functions every day? All that movement and activity out there going on, that's not your head. That's outside. You might want to pay attention a little bit of that at least, because I'm pretty sure I could come up with a lot of shit that you've said that just couldn't even possibly be true, let alone coming true. Anyhow, sweet little sidetrack on the beauties of the community. No, as a matter of fact, Nanya, that's exactly the point I guess everybody should take from what he says and when he talks is, did he state what came true? No, and he really doesn't. He never does. I've heard him say that quite a few times. So I guess he's saying it to convince himself that he's correct. Maybe he's trying to convince the 17 people in his chat that it's a true statement. I don't know. I'm not sure. But literally nothing you say comes true. And you sound like an idiot screaming it into a phone, especially when you got a glass with ice cubes in one hand and a big fat cigar sticking out of your face and, help with the other hand. You don't have a whole lot of room to navigate reasonable commentary, dude. And nobody buys that you're the controller of the world here. I think it's hilarious that more people don't recognize that he came into the protest as an ex-scientist or whatever. I don't know. I'm still not completely sold on all that situation. I never looked into it enough to pay that much attention to it. But Judy, good night. Sleep well. Stay funny. Have fun out there. Appreciate you stopping in for a bit. But yeah, when he came into the protest, he made a point to get right in front of DOA's camera immediately. As a matter of fact, I wish I had all those clips to play of him just slobbering all over Scott, how wonderful he is and how great he is and what he's doing. And it's just so amazing that you're out here, spending your time trying to help people like myself, and you're making a difference and you're making people stop and listen. And you're, rah, rah, rah. And that's how he came into it, right on the sidewalk, right by Blue. And then he talks about he's the first one to turn on him and start telling the truth about him. I got news for you, dude. You started lying about him immediately. Well, I don't want to say immediately. I don't remember exactly how long it was, but it didn't take long. And I think it's because you were butthurt that he didn't pay more attention to you. That's just my opinion. We're all entitled to an opinion every once in a while, right? But moving forward, I'm not even going to talk about the shit you say and how dumb it sounds, but who goes from being out on the streets around Scientology and protesting Scientology to ending up underneath the Las Vegas sign, focusing your camera on short skirts, legs, titties, all that stuff. Who does that? Better question is why would somebody do that? Because that's how you changed your platform. And I don't care how many times you yell and scream and try to act all tough and badass and talk about how badass you are and everything else. You look like a fucking fool when you say, "Oh, I changed my platform and I'm the only real one out here. If you're not with me, you're nothing. You're nobody. And I'm gonna call you every vile name I can think of, and I'm gonna block you." Oh, that's what he did today. He says there are 800 people I have blocked. I block them all. That's why I'm real. I block them all. There's 800 people that want to be in my chat, talking in my chat, and they can't because I'm real. Keep thinking that, man. Just, if it's easy for you to think that, that's fine. Run with it. Keep standing under that sign, filming a lot of people you probably shouldn't be filming. Keep doing that too. It really puts you in a strong position to fight Scientology. Being anti-Scientology, because that's all that matters in the world is being anti-Scientology. Because if you're not with us, you're against us. And if you're not focused on anti-Scientology, then you're nothing. I guess my question to him would be that little index card that he holds up in front of the camera, that's literally like a business card, talks about 4 or 5 different things about Scientology or anti-Scientology. Excuse me. How many of the hundreds of people that walk through that Vegas sign see that little business card you got in your hand? How many people see the little scribbled out sign on your lawn chair sitting there behind you and behind the crowd where nobody can see it? How many people pay attention to that? How many people understand why you're out there doing stuff? Do you think a single person has gone over to that sign and the God knows how many, what number stream you're on now, realize that you are an anti-Scientology protester? Yeah. My guess is not very many. Anyhow, that was a good, healthy sidetrack. Glad somebody brought that up because that's just one of those things that adds to the whole level of stupidity and dumb. So now on to the dumbest. Anybody? I would love to see somebody nail this one, just because for me it's just clear. But I kind of might be throwing a curveball at you on this one a little bit. I'll just say this: it has a lot to do with. We've already talked about Pinche, and we've already talked about Shaky. Already talked about Boss Talk. All the people on the DT panel, inclusively. Not gonna do any repeat awards here or repeat recognitions. Nope. Not Ghost Soldier 23. I'll say this real quick about that. He put that video out and everything else. Everybody's talking about it, and he and I disagree strongly on the position of Scott. There's no doubt about that. But I will just say that there's a whole lot that he's put out there that I completely agree with, and I hope he keeps his course and does what he does, because he's good at doing what he does that way. Stay focused on these fools and con artists and all those people, because I think he's really good at that, drawing attention to them. So, and that's all I'll say. But no, it doesn't come close to the dumbest award here at all. Would never go there for that. But Anybody else? The dumbest category? And this one can open a whole big can of worms in a whole lot of different directions. Doesn't really matter. But the dumbest category goes to the chats of all of those people. Anybody that hangs in any of the hate train channels, because they're all the same people. They're all the same group, no matter what channel you watch. They're all there. The names are all the same. Well, no, I take that back. While they're accusing all of us of going out everywhere under alts, they're all in these chats, but oftentimes under an alt. So you got to kind of pay attention to what they say to know who it is. Just another part of their hypocrisy and all that. But no, the dumbest is certainly the chats of these people. And I've said it before, but they make themselves look like a big crowd, but they're really not, because they are all the same people. And, if you had them all gather in one place, it's not that, it's really not that many people, 40 or 50 people, maybe, something like that. But they make themselves look as dumb as 500 people. They really do, because, they go into Shaky's chat, and they just lead him by the nose. Everybody knows, everybody sees that. It used to be he would say, I run my chat, nobody has any influence on me, and this, that, and the other. But see, those people have gone in there, and they've learned how to tweak the course of his chat and the direction that things are going, and now it's almost to the point where all they have to do is just type it in there without thought, and it gets addressed and run with and accepted, with very few exceptions. And it just keeps getting dumber by the day as far as what they, the direction that they lead that chat in and that channel in. Boss Talks, same thing. His at least has some humor to it. I have caught a few people that have said some actually very funny things. But at the same time, those funny things are still being manipulative. They're steering it. Oh, Lord. I don't even know if I want to stop and address questions right this second, but sure, why not? DOA is patient zero introducing toxicity into the LA protest community, quote unquote. That's number one. Number two, he will get probation at most, and that's okay. Fair enough. Number three, shame on anyone making jokes about prison rape. 100% agree. How far? I'm not sure whether you want to get involved in a conversation on those three topics, or did you just feel like you had to say that? And that's okay too. Number two and number three, I kind of agree with you. I don't. Number two, sketchy on the parameters of that, but you're going in the right direction. But number three, I 100% agree with that. And the fools that many of whom you show up and converse with. I'm not saying you agree with them all the time, because I've seen you bust balls on people that I've appreciated you busting balls on. But number three, I don't think anybody could argue. But number one, you're way off base. And there's enough information out there that myself and a whole lot of people that are in here right now and in other streams can attest to that's just not true. That's the narrative that you want to sell right now, and a whole lot of other people are trying to sell every fucking day. But that's certainly not a true statement. Like, you got close on two and you nailed it on three. So if you want to expand on this, I'm more than happy to do that. But no problem with that. Danny sure thinks he did nothing. What does that mean? Am I missing part of the conversation here? I don't want to make an assumption on what somebody says here without knowing what they're talking about. I'm sure that's true, though. I watched number W. I watched number one with my own eyes. Tell me about it. Tell me about what you saw with your own eyes that affords you to say that he brought the toxicity to this community. There was absolutely toxicity prior to DOA even arriving in LA. Are you new? Good question. Tell me more, Real Dreamscape. Real Dreamscape just told you. That's enough. That's a fairly accurate statement, and it's a complete statement. And how do you say your name, by the way? Is it Zella Coyote? Is that what that is? Is that what that name is? And who are you? I'd love to know that. But anyhow, go ahead. What did you watch with your own eyes that you can make a statement that DOA brought the toxicity to all this movement? That I'm going to believe, that I'm going to run with. And while you're trying to figure that out, we could always move on. Anyhow, these chats, the people in these chats just don't understand really how dumb they are. The fact that they fall for everything is mind-blowing to me. You know, being that naive to believe, accept, help spread, expand on these dumb ideas, it takes a real special level of dumb to do that. Because I mean, if I try to do that, it hurts my brain. I don't know what you really call that. Maybe there's a clinical term for it or something like that. But as a big moving, mass of people, not real big, but they feed off each other. I would say it's like those little schools of fish or those big schools of little fish that swim in the ocean that are really cool, or the birds that take off and they fly in, whatever that remuneration or whatever that's called when the birds take off. Yeah, I wish I could say it was like that, but it's not. It's just a big clusterfuck. It's just constant stupidity in all different directions, and they bite on anything. I mean, I could say I'm sitting at a table right now that's gold plated and it's beautiful, but I have an end table next to me that's 24 karat gold. And tomorrow, somebody's going to be talking about me and my gold tables. I watched Ant in real time disparaging people who were supporting the protest in the minutes after they decided to shut it down. Okay, I don't know what that means. I watched Ant in real time disparaging people who were supporting the protest in the minutes after they decided to shut it down. Who decided to shut it down? Who's they? I mean, you're being a little bit vague with that. I watched Ant's reasons for the occupation ending evolve as he tried to settle on a reason. Okay, I'll give you that one. But what's the problem with that? Because see, there wasn't, the city didn't come in and tear the street up so they couldn't be there anymore. That didn't happen. There wasn't a fire that burnt down the whole street and, so they couldn't go there. That didn't happen. A bomb didn't go off and blow a big hole in the street where they were trying to do the encampment. So you can't say that's not why it shut down. Why is it a problem to try to figure out exactly what happened? So maybe next time you try to do it, you can learn from the first time. Because it sounds like that's what you're trying to say. I watched Ant's reasons for the occupation ending evolve as he tried to settle on a reason. I'm not sure what the insinuation is on the end, but him trying to figure out what went wrong. What the fuck is wrong with that? Anybody that doesn't do that is in this type of environment would be stupid. The toxic was there before the encampment. It was hidden well, and it was not DOA. Yeah, Bon Jovi, you're not wrong with that either. There's it wasn't just all rainbows and unicorns, you know. And a lot of people, I think a lot of people are aware of that. But that's a great question. Who decided to end the occupation? Yeah, well, you came in here and said the shit you said. So tell me who. Give me the answer to that. Who decided to end the occupation, and why? Nice spin, David. It would be cool if he was looking for what went wrong without using his platform to disparage people who had good intentions to help. You need to expand on that, or I'm going to start calling you a dumbass, because there's a whole lot more to this, and you're not saying it out loud, and you're not putting in your fucking questions. See, I don't have a problem putting a lot of stuff into statements and or questions, but people like yourself that come in and make these declarative statements, be more than vague. So if you really had watched, like you say you did, you would know the reasons the occupation was called off. I asked you before, are you new? Tell me more, girl dreamscape. That's not a good that's not a good response to that. See, because they're making pretty clear statements about in response to what you're saying, and you're not putting anything to support it. So why are you so vague? You seems like you want answers, but it seems like you want answers. You want to get some gotcha thing out there. But when you're vague about things, you're not going to get anywhere with it. Yeah, don't be weird. Name names when asking your questions. You're asking dumb questions. Am I missing something else here? Tell me when and do it, Auntie M. What is that about? What am I missing here? Still missing it. Somebody bring me up to speed on what that's about. David be doing his give me specifics rhetoric when he's at a loss. What am I at a loss on? Seriously. No, Auntie M, don't block them if that's what that's about. Tell me what this give me specifics rhetoric is, and tell me how I'm at a loss. How'd you come to that conclusion? Because I'm calling you out on being vague? That's what you're talking about? That's just fucking stupid. Did you read the banner up there? Let's debate if you know how. You don't know how to debate at all. You see, I'll respond to vagueness with vagueness every single time. And I'm going to make you look stupid doing it. Because this is your second time in here trying to do this, trying to get some commentary going, a false commentary at that. And then now you want to accuse me of having some tactic of avoidance. I mean, her trigger finger is itchy. Of course it is. Just so you know, Zella, I I tell every person that is a mod in my channel and anybody else I can convince to anywhere else. If people are being stupid and vague and accusatory, we don't need them. And like right now, we really don't need you in here doing this shit. David B resorts to ad hominem. Oh, okay. That's the first clear statement you've actually made. It's horseshit, but it's the first clear statement you've made without being vague about this. You know, you're an ism person. You deal in isms. Think about that one. Anyhow, I'll be right back. I gotta take care of something real quick. All right, sorry about that. I know, I'm not supposed to say sorry, but I will anyway. Where were we? Smoke 'em if you got 'em. Absolutely. I'll have to remember that one, White Snake. That's a good line. Smoke 'em if you got 'em. I'll be right back. Hey, Zella, how about you address the things that you brought up instead of asking Dreamscape or anyone else to come up with something reasonable? Make your stuff reasonable first. And you want to give me examples of the red herrings you're talking about? I could get into all kinds of specifics. One of these days, I'll get you up on a panel. How about that? You want to come up on a panel with me and we'll talk about this? I'm game. I'm up for that. I'm here to witness your infinite wisdom, Zella. Anytime you're ready. And then we can talk about red herrings and being vague and ad hominem. Because see, I'm not going to be specific about something until you actually put something specific up here. And I'm not going to just go after a topic as opposed to the person. Rewatch the stream, David B. You're the debate expert, so I reckon you'll figure it out. That's fucking brilliant. What is that supposed to do for me? Do you realize that I'm the one talking here, that I'm this side of the whole stream, and you just came in with a vague comment that was off, that I did agree with you on a couple things? Is that to me that I'm consistently consistent? I kind of take pride in being consistent. How about you? Nobody's going to know that you're consistent if you're vague. You see, you don't realize that you're just not really saying anything. You're putting all this stuff out here. You're talking about questions about this and that, and making statements about this and that, but you're not really adding any commentary to it, and you're not being specific about anything. '67 agreement is pretty good. It is pretty good. I was giving you the benefit of the doubt. You didn't catch that. You went right back to the bullshit of being vague again. I was opening a door for you to start talking about stuff. And like I said, if you want to come up on a panel and do this, I'm all for it. But see, this is another thing that I was going to talk about with everybody in these chats. You know, the dumbest part. Remember, that's what we're talking about. The dumbest part. That's part of the dumbness, because you can't be anonymous, completely anonymous, and expect people to take you seriously. See, I've been on camera a couple times here and there. I don't give a shit about being on camera, and I have circumstances that make it better if I'm not on camera. I don't appreciate the distractions that I would present to my chat or anyone else. So that's why I don't. But everybody in these chats, like, for example, I go into boss talks, right? And I watch what's going on. I pay attention. I catch the comments, and I laugh, and I laugh some more, and then I laugh some more because it's so fucking stupid. But the one thing that really amazes me is that you got one of two things when I go in there. Oh, not David B. He's so boring. Don't let him up there. Don't have him come up there. He's so boring. Or get up there, David B. Go up and say it. Don't just sit here and type it in chat. Go up there and say it on the panel. The link's right there. Click the link, David B. Click the link. How many of you have clicked the link? How many of them have any of you ever heard? Zella, you're a good example. Anybody ever heard you on a panel? Anybody ever experienced what you really had to say other than what you type in a chat? I could name 20 names right now of people that have said that specifically, that have never been on a panel and never will be. Some of them have specific reasons why they're not going to be on a panel. And a lot of us know what those reasons are. Of course, they don't think we know what they are, but we do. But just the fact of the matter, simple fact, they don't go on panel, and yet they beg others to. That doesn't make sense to me. I'll go on any panel with anybody that wants to have a conversation, and even better, have a debate, because there's a difference between the two. Your chatters have advised me to ignore my lying eyes and ears. Well, I won't advise you of that, because see, I don't know what your eyes and ears have actually told you, and you sure as fuck are no good at explaining it to me or anybody else. Give me some examples of what you have seen and heard with some level of specificity to it that I can comment on it. What are my reasons for not being on a panel? If you want to share it, go ahead. I really don't care, to be honest with you. If you have reasons, great. But I'm assuming you understood what I just said, right? All these people that have to come into a chat and poke and prod at people to try to get them to go on a panel, but they've never been on one themselves. And when somebody says, "Hey, why don't you go up on a panel?" Crickets. That makes sense to you? Or is that a red herring or something that you want to describe that I'm using? And here's the other fun part of this is you can go out into another chat now and say that you took over my chat. You kind of have. But you know what? That's okay, because that's kind of what chats are about. Producing conversation. Intelligent conversations, much more preferred, but my specific example for number one is DOA using his platform to disparage people who supported the occupation. How did he disparage people that supported the occupation in a way that you're trying to put it out there? Who did he disparage and why? What did he say? And what did they do? I mean, are you trying to say that the occupation, the encampment, whatever we want to call it, ended, and instead of just accepting it and moving on, DOA decided to just start randomly drawing names out of a hat and going after them? That there was no reason for any of the remarks or commentary or disparaging or otherwise that he had to say? You think it was just all random bullshit? Is that what you're trying to say? That he just doesn't have anything better to come out with? That he doesn't have the ability to just move on? He's got to stick with it and tear people down because that's what his history is? Is that part of what you're trying to put out? Because that's the talking point that a lot of you guys fall on. Is that's what he does, which is horseshit. And if you follow the history, you'd be able to come up with all kinds of examples as why that's not true. That's a whole nother story. You have some weird fantasies, dude. Give me a specific example when I've never, ever bragged about taking over anyone's chat. I didn't say you did that. I didn't say you said that. That's something that happens here. I see that comment all the time. Oh, I went in and took over his chat. I say that. I've done that with Boss Talk's channel countless times. I've done it with MLH. Great example. The fundraising thing. It's a great point of contention for him to dispel the fact that I went in there and talked about fundraising, and he raised more money he had ever raised. And what he comes back with is, oh, well, we came back the next time and we went from 450 that David B did, and we did 1,100. Well, good for him. It kind of proves my point. If 450 was the highest he'd ever done, how the hell did 1,100 happen? Did it have anything to do with every time he talked about fundraising after that? the big fundraiser he was going to do for the end of the year, that he said my fucking name every time he talked about it. He brought my name into it. And I hadn't been in his chat or said a word about it for 2 weeks, week and a half, whatever that time span was between the two. I wasn't involved with it. Not names are randomly drawn out of a hat. We agree on that. Okay, so that's a start. You want to go further, or you want to just keep like hiding around a corner from what you're trying to talk about? Because see, I think you're going to find in the end that you're not going to succeed in getting me to say what you think I'm going to say or what you want me to say. I don't work that way. If you want to talk about specifics, I'll respond to any specific you have. But I don't take the bait when people want to be vague. Because see, when that happens, there's usually a reason behind them being vague. They either don't know what the fuck they're talking about, or they're trying to steer a conversation or otherwise in a certain direction. And whether that direction is fantasy or based in reality doesn't matter. And then again, using stuff like you said, red herrings. That's nonsense. But seriously, you can put it into chat or not. I'm inviting you to a panel on this type of thing, whatever you want to talk about, anytime. Oh, wait a minute. You never said what your reasons for not being on panels were. Is it because you have no voice? You have no voice box? You visited Salem and they cut your tongue out? Or I don't know. I don't know where to go with that. You don't have a microphone? It does sound like an open invitation, Maui. It really does, because it is, and I will offer that to anybody that wants to come in and talk instead of, just the same old bullshit of hiding behind excuses and hiding behind this, and they'd rather be attacking someone than have a conversation and actually get down to actual facts and details and events that have really taken place, that are live and in your face and recorded on videos and everything else. They don't want to talk about that stuff because it doesn't fit their narrative that they want to try to sell every fucking day. I'm hip to your rhetoric style, David B, and I won't take your bait. Whatever, you can say it all you want, but me saying come up on a panel and let's talk where you have an actual voice doesn't sound like bait to me. That's me saying, instead of you trying to type this stuff into chat and not making any sense and being vague about it for whatever reason, come up on a panel and let's talk about it. That's not bait. Whole different form of rhetoric there, Zella. And I mean, I'm starting to think you're pretty thick, man, because this is not the first time you've done this. This is the second or third time you've done this. And I mean, my channel's only a few weeks old. I've only got a half a dozen videos or half a dozen streams. And yet you've come in, at least, this is your at least second time, maybe third time you've come in and done the same thing. You said you knew my reasons, so there was nothing for me to add. I never said that. What the fuck is that? When did I say that? You want to go back and watch it this time? You told me to go back and watch it. You go back and watch it and tell me when I said that I knew your reasons. You certainly haven't said your reasons at all. You just want to start, throwing word salad around, and that's your prerogative too. Doesn't make you look very bright, but Me saying, here's a link, click the link, come up and talk. That's not baiting. That's not rhetoric. It can't mean too many things. And I'm not gonna do like all the fools in Boss Talks chat does. I'm just not going to go there. Even Boss Talk is the worst perpetrator of trying to goad people into coming up on a panel. He did it last night. He was begging me to come up on the panel, and he can call it whatever he wants, but he was begging me to come up on the panel because I showed up and said one or two things in his chat instantly. Come up on the panel, and when I didn't, because it was like 3:30 in the morning, and I got to be up every morning to do things. I didn't go up on the panel. But what did he do? Oh, he won't go up on the panel because he knows I talked to his daughter. He knows I got him. I got information on him, and he won't come up here. And that's just stupid. I've already called him a moron for even saying that stuff because it's not true. And he's offered nothing to prove it. Only second time I've been in your chat. I said 2 or 3. Forgive me. I said 2. That was one of the ones. See, 50% right is not bad, is it? I don't need to go back and watch anything. I'm pretty much done. You rested your case. That's fine. Get the fuck out of my chat. I can kick you out or you can just leave. Doesn't matter. But if you're not going to expand the conversation into something real that we can talk about, you don't need to be in here wasting my time because I'm just going to call you a dumbass if you're being a dumbass, which is what you're doing. So you're welcome to come in and come up on panel anytime you want. And you can come into the chat and talk real instead of all these little vague insinuations and vague questions. But that's about as far as I want to go with it. Because you're just going to be dumb. Which is apropos for the title of tonight's stream, right, everybody? This is a great example of what I'm talking about with the chats. Just another great example. They got to come into these chats and own you and do the gotcha thing and they're not doing it at all. They think they are, but they're not. They're just not successful at it. It's not effective. And it's a continual thing, and they feed off each other. Doesn't matter what chat they're in. See, now that's an actual comment that we can respond to, Zella. Actually, KK goes harder than Bot. No, he doesn't. He begs Scott every day to go live. That's what KK does. That's it. He'll say, come up on panel. If you're going to talk, come up. That's fine too. I'll give you that. But that's it. He doesn't do the goading thing like Boss Talk does. Boss Talk wants to insult people to get them to come up on panel. He wants to say some kind of gotcha phrase that is just dumb as shit to get people to come up and talk to him. And then he spaces out and doesn't even realize they're talking. Doesn't matter who it is. I mean, I know it happens with me because I'm so boring. I get that. Ad hominem, of course. Might as well throw a couple red herrings in the bucket too, right? Anyhow, here's another funny thing that I'll share with you guys. As far as it kind of ties all these, not all of them, but most of it together. Is the other day, a week or so ago, I was on the panel with Scott and forget how it came up, but talking about support and everything else. And I said, yeah, I'm the number one simp gimp in the world. And see, I said that with absolute intent to say that. And the intention was that I was going to watch Disaster Piece the next day and listen to that, either being repeated or played, one of the two. And sure as shit, there it was. Still Played it again today. Gonna try to milk that one out forever because they think it's a gotcha thing and it makes me look like a fool. Oh, they're so dumb and they're so easy. When you call something ahead of time, doesn't make you dumb. It makes you a better troll than they know how to handle. Same as last night with Boss Talk. He said something about me coming in and doing something. Why would I do that or whatever? And I said, it's good. It's a good troll. Why wouldn't I do it? Well, it's not a troll. It's not a troll. Sure it is. Made you look like a fucking idiot. That's why it's a troll. Good troll doesn't always have to do that, but when it has that effect, in a lot of situations, it's pretty effective. Anyhow, well, I don't know. It is, what time is it? I don't even know. 1:45. It's not too late, I guess, but when you have nothing, you repeat the same old, same old. That's true, rather. That's all they do. I mean, think about it. The whole group of them, the whole hate train, and see, that's what ties them all together. And that could be a whole nother stream sometime, talking about the specifics about why all these people are together today, and the absurdity of it, the fantasy of it, the insanity of it. Yeah. Well, I know you're referring to MLH and crew, but it's all of them. Howie. It's all of them because they feed off each other. They use a couple of channels as a communication center, and they hear it and they repeat it because that's what they do. It doesn't matter if it was from today or yesterday or a year ago. Like bringing up eating the cat. Yeah, exactly. Now, however you mean that, I don't know, but that's a whole nother example of the stupidity. Because see, 99% of the people or 98% of the people that talk about the cat, they do that on purpose. But what's funny is they have no idea what they're talking about. They don't know the actual history of it. They don't know the facts about it. They don't know the context of it. And yet they just keep saying it and repeating it. Why? Because other people say it. That's it. I mean, when you repeat something that somebody says that you just don't have any idea what they're talking about, you make yourself look like an idiot. And see, they think they're being effective with the cat thing, a whole bunch of them. And if they stop and think about it, who has ever called them out on it? Seriously, all the people have said it. Who calls them people out? Nobody. Why? Because we all know that you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You don't know the context. You don't know the actual history of it, the origins, the use of it, or otherwise, to what extent it happened. And yeah, I'll include, the hell's the name? Kitty McKitterton, whatever the hell name she goes by. I'll include her in it because she doesn't know either. Of course, how dare I say anything about knowing more about something than a man's sister does, but that's again a whole nother topic we can get into. But yeah, they do. It's all recycled because you can go back to the very beginnings of disaster piece theater, and they're saying the same shit today as they were 9 months ago. And they're no more funny about it now than they were then. They're just more distracted now. You see, they're digging and scraping for relevance. And when you have to struggle to find relevance, you come up with some really dumb stuff. It's kind of like putting lipstick on a pig. It really doesn't change things. When you try to inform them, they aren't interested. They want the story that suits their narrative. That's all they want. Rather, that's all they have, really. It's not even so much. It's not so much what they want. It's what they have to survive in this YouTube streets, first of all. And it's the only thing they apparently know how to do, because I challenge any of them to dig up something that's real. I'd love to see it. Then it's something we can actually talk about instead of mocking their stupidity over. Because truth be told, mocking the stupidity gets old too. But somebody's got to do it. All the theys on each side are the same way. I don't know what that means. I have no idea what that means. All the theys on each side are the same way. Where have I heard that before? I don't know. I could apply that to a couple different things, but I would love for you to expand on that so I know what you're talking about. But yeah, Bon Jovi, I appreciate that. It's not hard to understand when you have a clear mind and you're not living in that type of atmosphere and environment and influence, constant influence all the time. You know, there's a pretty broad line between accepting and living in reality and being swamped by fantasy and delusions and being impacted by it and allowing yourself to be impacted by it. But as the banner says, opinions are opinions, not facts. I'll throw my opinions out there, and if people want to talk about facts and other stuff, we can. But I tried to kick him when the haters rolled into his original account. He was checked out and had a new audience that was love bombing him. It's what his weak ego needed. Rather be, that's exactly how I would write that. I mean, word for word, because that's the reality of that. I just wish that we had the video recordings that we could play, and not even so much in a vindictive way, but just to bring even the chance of bringing some people back to reality. It would be great to play those, because I've been hearing this statement a lot recently. At least the way I remember it. Blah 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 blah. That's at least the way I remember it. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's the way I remember it. Well, Shaky, you're not remembering everything very well. I'll say it that way. And I'll also put it out there. And yeah, this can be a challenge to you, Shaky. Play the videos. You have them all. Play them. Prove all of us wrong. That we're wrong. That we don't remember it. That we weren't there. That we didn't experience this. And you're correct in what sounds very delusional right now. Play the videos, because you have them. And if I know Shaky, he's saying, you play the videos. You play the videos. It's like, no, I can't. I don't have them. Never have. I literally just said, play the videos, because we don't have them. I wish we had them, but we don't. And it would be a visual lesson or proof of what was done. You know, there's bits and pieces of that out there. There are some recordings of that going on, Maui. I know for a fact there are fairly extensive clips of that time period that do show exactly what you're talking about. Plus, you have a bunch of people that were there, and we all watched it happen. But the only person that has all of it is him, and he's too chicken shit to play the videos because he knows what the result will be. And the only way to describe it is chicken shit, because why else wouldn't you? Why else wouldn't, if everybody, both sides of an argument or position or otherwise, if everybody knows you have the videos and you won't play them and yet you're going to keep being so vocal about how this went down and who did what, and who said what, and all that, and you don't play those videos. Pretty easy to draw conclusions on what's going on there. And it sure isn't anything against anyone that was there trying to help at the time. It's only against one person. And it's in support of the nonsense narrative that they're all trying to follow to this day. And even that was how long ago? A year and a half? It's like, come on. You know, it's crazy. It was alarming to say the least. Bon Jovi, I know I can genuinely say we tried because we cared. Not anymore, for me anyway. You're not alone, Maui. You're not alone in that at all. I guarantee you that. I think everybody there was trying, and in a genuine way. I really do. And yes, there are clips that can prove that out. Maybe I'll get a hold of those clips and play them on here. At least we can go through part of it. But I don't know how much energy I want to put into that. Because see, every time he says, this is how I remember, at least that's how I remember it, and then doesn't play the video, kind of solidifies what we're saying without question. So maybe someday, maybe someday they'll start to understand what's going on, and a lot of the stupidity and levels of dumbness can be put aside, because it doesn't do anybody any good. It really doesn't. I mean, if any of these guys were making a lot of money on this stupidity, on these lies they come up with and the fabrications and fantasy stories, maybe that'd be different. Maybe we could just say they're doing it for money, but I don't think they're making any money on it. Yeah, it would sadly fall on deaf ears and blind eyes. Yeah, pretty much. That's more than likely the outcome. But as long as they're okay with just floating around in the stratosphere out there with a bunch of nonsense in their head that's not proven or not something you can actually grasp onto as anything real, I guess, how can we knock them if that's where they want to be? If that's where they want to live their life, in that kind of limbo state, it's up to them, I guess. But one of the things I just remembered that Becky said on that panel on the DT extravaganza show, parody, by the way, it's all parody. Keep in mind, it's all parody. They were playing these cartoon things, and Becky says, each one of those, literally, this is what she said, each one of those has a little bit of truth to it. Let that sink in for half a second. She actually said that out loud while they're playing these cartoons. Each one of them has a little bit of truth to it. Now, if anybody understands influence peddling, or a lot of marketing techniques and manipulation techniques, the very first thing on the key to success in manipulation is start with a sliver of truth and expand it into whatever you want it to be after that. As long as you have that little sliver of truth to get people's attention, to make them consider whether you know what you're talking about, you're knowledgeable or accurate. That one little sliver of truth is the kicker to the whole thing. And she said it out loud during the show while the cartoon things were playing. And again, she has no idea, that she just said the quiet part out loud. right in the middle of the storm. But all right, well, I don't know. You guys want to hang out more? Have I bored everybody to death? I am the most boring person on the internet, as well as the biggest simp gimp in the world. So, trying to throw some sound bites out there for disaster piece theater, so they can use more, more stuff and be more funny. And well, the hater can just continue to wallow in the gratification of the part they played with KK and where he is now. Sad. Yeah, I agree with that, Maui. I don't know that they'll ever admit to that being part of what that channel transformed into. But when the gears changed, it was obvious why. And those names are still out there. Not bored. Thank you, Bon Jovi. Appreciate that. Scott is live too. Laugh out loud. Split audience. You son of a bitch. How can you go live when I'm live? How dare you? I can't believe that. I'll never talk to you again. Good Lord. Well, that's cool. Glad he's live. I'll get off here anyway and go over and check that out. Did we finally lose Zell? Yeah, apparently they gave up, or maybe I put him to sleep. Let's hope so. You guys have a good night. I appreciate you coming in. It's been fun. Hope I didn't ramble on too much. I like doing the whole Zella thing. If they want to come in and try and get a point across, let's do it. I know Auntie M, it drives you batshit crazy that I entertain some of these people, but maybe one of them will break through and get them to actually say something relative for a change instead of vague and all the crazy shit. So, what do you think, honey? You ready to be done? I wish you'd let me talk more next time.
They can hang if they want for a little bit.
They can hang if they want for a little bit. Lisa says you can hang for a little bit. I don't know. I'm just running out of topics, because once you hit dumbest, it's hard to go any further than that.
Well, tell them I said goodnight.
I think they just heard you say goodnight. Maybe not. But yeah, let's go over to DOA. Don't have to worry about splitting audiences or anything anymore.
Wait a minute, Scott's on?
Scott's on, yeah. Dickhead.
Bye.
Yeah. See, even Lisa says I'm out of here. That's funny. Anyhow, thanks for everybody stopping in. Appreciate it. And we'll do this again one of these days soon, and hopefully we'll have another topic to talk about. Won't bore everybody to death, and blah 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 blah. Dumb, dumber, and dumbest. Do better out there. Just try to do a little bit better. And with that,
Bye.
I will say good night. Take it easy, y'all. See you in a bit.